Welcome to Military Miniatures magazine. In this issue we are going to paint an HO scale Opel Blitz truck in Revell No. 9 Anthracite Grey RAL 7021, tinted with 23% white in a previous tutorial about the aerial perspective of color. Our canvas today is a cheap ROCO vehicle which had been glued together by a previous owner, who also strangely painted the wheel rims and canvas tilt in thick layers of gloss enamel. We sprayed the vehicle in our tinted Revell No. 9, despite the fact that this mixture had not been tinted enough to be accurate in this small scale. It may be possible to fix this mistake by dry brushing the truck in a properly tinted version of Revell No. 9 at the very end of the painting process. We begin by painting the tires neutral gray. To account for aerial perspective, we never use black on 1:72 scale or even smaller figures and vehicles. The front axle turns, which makes painting the tires so much easier. Unfortunately, the rear wheels don't turn anymore because the previous owner glued them to the truck's frame for some reason. The wheels of ROCO vehicles are well detailed and easy to paint, except in this case where the detail is partially obscured by a thick layer of enamel paint. The spare wheel under the truck bed will be visible from the side and rear, so it needs to be painted like the other wheels. Next, we mix the dirty beige for the wooden handles of the Pioneer tools on this truck, using yellow ochre, white and a little black. The pickaxe is glued in place incorrectly, with the business end pointing forward dangerously. Not an easy mistake to fix without breaking the pickaxe and damaging the fender in the process. Used ROCO vehicles are typically sold without these small parts, which have a tendency to fall off and disappear in the carpet. While missing tools are not the end of the world, other missing parts do need to be scratch-built to repair an incomplete model. The benches in the cargo bay had been glued down, so this truck will have to serve as a troop transport of motorized infantry. Once all colors had been blocked in, the vehicle was sprayed with gloss acrylic varnish and left to dry overnight. Our next step is to apply pinpoint washes to the engine grille, panel lines, and around the raised details on the vehicle's body. We mix our own wash from ivory black and burnt umber artist acrylic paint, heavily diluted with water, and a drop of Oxgall flow improver added. Mixing our own paints and washes is an enormously liberating time saver, because the painting flow is never interrupted by that frantic search for a particular magic potion or chapter-approved panel liner. To reduce the stark contrast between the freshly painted benches and the dark grey truck bed, we allow the wash to stain the benches and give them a convincing wood texture. The overall effect looks convincing enough already that we won't even bother dry brushing the benches. The sides of the canvas tilt don't seem to take the pin wash very well, possibly because the fine detail had been obscured by enamel paint. Once the wash had fully dried overnight, the vehicle was sprayed with matte acrylic varnish, ready to be dry brushed. We begin by dry brushing the canvas tilt with a mixture of dirty beige, mixed from yellow ochre, white and a little black. Most of the moisture needs to be removed from our loaded brush by brushing it across cardboard, plywood or kitchen towel until it is dry enough for the job. We want the dry brush to deposit a little pigment on raised edges of the canvas tilt only, not to paint or smudge it in the process. So it's always a good idea to evaluate the status of our dry brush on another clean object before applying it to our model. Once the canvas tilt is done, we can use our dirty but dry brush to dry brush the dark grey chassis and body of the truck. Cleaning the brush isn't necessary because our next color will be much darker than the dirty beige we used for the canvas tilt. Remembering that our original mixture of Revell No. 9 was not tinted enough to be realistic in this small scale, we will now try to fix the mistake by dry brushing the vehicle in a lighter mixture of Dunkelgrau number 46. We're simply eyeballing it here, adding a few drops of Revell number 9 to our mixing container and tinting the mixture with white. The mixture just needs to be a little lighter than the base color of our vehicle, so there's not much rocket science involved here. Once again, the brush needs to be super dry, because we only want micro deposits of gray pigment on raised surfaces of the body. Any smudging of paint would be a grave mistake, so we need to evaluate the brush again and again until it is dry enough. Notice how careful dry brushing accentuates the fine detail of the vehicle, even adding a very subtle streaking effect. So, this is what our Opel Blitz truck looks like now that we've overpainted the gloss enamel canvas tilt and wheel rims. Thank you for watching. For more information, you're welcome to visit our website at miniatures.de.